affects you in a positive way. And I'll give you a very nice story of how karma took place to make someone blind. Why do people get blind? Why do people lose their eyesight? I had this elderly couple. They were about 80-something years old. She was 70 and he was about 80. And they came to see me. And they were both number 8s. So the lady complained, I looked at her life and she complained that most of her life the husband fooled around with other women. And she was very dedicated to him. She took care of the home, she took care of the children and so on. And he always drank or party a lot and spent a lot of time with the women outside. So after about 65 years old, when he reached 65, of course he started to get sick. And then he got a little bit blind, so he couldn't see anymore. But because when he got blind, he told his wife how much he loved her. And every time she would leave, he would be upset because she just wants her around him. Right? And the wife, of course, would leave him sometimes, but she still has not forgotten what he has done, so she never forgave him. So she came to me and she wants to know why she's half blind and why he's blind. And I explained to her, I said, well, when he could see you, when he was able to see you for all those years, he never saw you. He never saw your beauty. He never saw the beauty inside. And so when he got blind, then he saw your beauty. Because now he couldn't survive without her. But he realized that she was the one who took care of him. She was the one who nursed him. She was the one who helped him out. So unless he became blind, he could not recognize her beauty. Look at that. And then she wanted to know why she was half blind. I said, well, do you know that his father did the same thing he did to the mother? And when you married him, he came with these karmas, these habits. But you never saw that. So that is why you are still angry at him. You never saw that it was karma that caused him to come to you and then fool around and do all the things. You could have prayed to stop it. And because you didn't pray to stop it, you didn't do your prayers to stop him from doing all of these things, you became half blind. So then I asked her the magic question. I said, do you forgive him? And she said, no. Imagine, she's 70 years old now. He's 80. She still has. So I said to her, would you like to get your eyes back? Would you like to get your sight back? She said, yes. I said, then you have to forgive your husband. Because it was not totally his fault. You could have prayed for him too. He came with the karma. So here's a case where blindness came because of karma. Right? So if she forgives him, she gets back her eyesight. Because all this is a problem with cataract only. So there again, you can see that here is where an action of a person creates. I had a family that every time a son was born, in the family the son was born blind. So they came to me because they don't want to have no more sons. Because every time they had a son, he would be born blind. So they wanted me to check to see what's causing that. So when I looked into it, I found out that the great-great-grandfather used to molest young girls who was beautiful young girls like Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is the light, isn't it? So because he used to do that, Lakshmi, which is the goddess of light, decides not to give them any eyesight anymore. See, we underestimate the power of the light. So when you think that you are fully doing everything, you have to realize that, okay, it's the universe also in charge, in working with you. So that's why Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that if you read the Bhagavad Gita in Karma Yoga, he said that I am everything. He says, I am the universe, I am the water, I am the mountain, I am the air, I am you, I am the bacteria, I am everything. So when you pray to Lord Krishna, you are praying to the universe. And he says, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Manohari Govinda Jai Jai, meaning I am victorious because I think of the universe every time I breathe. How many of you wake up in the morning bowing to the sun, acknowledging that the sun is there? That's all you need. Bowing to the earth, acknowledging the earth is there. And if all of us do it on earth, then 2012 will be such a beautiful change. But here's what's going to happen. There's going to be change only in certain places. And you will see that you will know where those changes are going to happen. Florida is going to be a good change, I can tell you that. Because the thinking of the people, the consciousness of the people is going to change the world of creative destruction. I was watching a special on CNBC about 2012, and this guy was building some houses in the mountains, and they had gotten $1 million in donations or support, and he's building all of these hotels and houses to house people, and he's keeping all the food and everything in case he's preparing for 2012 when the whole earth is going to be destroyed, and he's going to be able to have all these people going to charge them to stay in these rooms in the mountains, because he's expecting probably floods, whatever it is. I hope an earthquake doesn't happen on the mountain itself, but the whole idea is that he's so scared, has so much fear of what's going to happen, that he's building all of these steel rooms, in the mountain and in the cave and so on. And he's going to charge people when the destruction happens to come in, right? To come in there. So if you don't have $1 million, you won't be able to get in. You'll be destroyed. Something like what the movie did. So it's amazing that people are working out of fear. They are working out of fear. That okay, that if the 2012 comes, they're going to live. God is going to allow them, this $1 million per room guy, to live, and now to destroy all the rest of us, of course. And so when people work out of fear, that's what happens. If you are afraid of 2012, that means that you have been allowed to live, to experience this fear. If you died already, it doesn't matter if the world gets destroyed in 2012. You're already dead. So when does the world really end? Does the world really end when you die? Or it ends in 2012? So if you have to live, That means that you'll be scared to death as you approach 2012 by people. But that's not what happens in Hinduism. In Hinduism we have 4 ages. Listen to me carefully now, because then you're going to understand where on earth their destruction will be. So there are 4 ages. In other words, we have a square. And each one of those is called an age. So we have called the Satyug age, which is known as the age of truth, or what's called the golden age. That's when man, listen carefully now, man's consciousness realizes that the universe is in charge. That is, he's not the one in charge. That everything, he connects with the universe in a high consciousness. Then, that's what the golden age is about. Golden age is when man is so connected to the universe that there's no crime, people live longer, they live to 150 years and so on. And then there is what you call the Treta Yuga, or what we call the Silver Age. The Silver Age is where Lord Rama came on earth. And he taught people how important it is to not have 10 wives, but have 1 wife, and so on. The principles of the world. And in that age, man's consciousness begins to go a little bit to materialism, so he builds very big castles and so on. So his mind changes. And then the 3rd age is known as the Copper Age. That's called the Dwapar Yuga. And in this 3rd age, man's mind starts to go lower. And so he goes into what you call the wars. He makes wars, he fights battles, he overcomes other countries and so on. And so in that age, there's battle for materiality and so on. And then comes the last age, which is the Kali Yuga age, or what we call the age of iron. We are in that age now. And that age is known as the darkest of all the ages. Why? Because man will become so low in his thinking that he will completely forget about God. Forget about the universe. And he thinks that he is in control. Right? And so, the Dark Age, we passed it. The Spanish Inquisition. The Pope, when he said, this is my half, here's your half. The Muslim wars that took place. We went through all of the Dark Age already. We went through the Dark Age. The Dark Age now was also when they had slavery. So man has become so low in his thinking that during this Dark Age, he regarded every man as an enemy. Or he wanted slaves, he wanted all of these things. He put his own self, his own being, in a position of low esteem, low demonic nature. So this is what you call the age that we are about to leave now. 2012 is the end of the Dark Age. But it's not fully going to end like that. It's going to be a transition age. So if you notice, as we approach 2012, more earthquakes, more tsunamis, more hurricanes, especially from 1992, we started having the hurricanes. Now what do you notice? Every destruction that you see is because of 5 elements. Air, water, fire, that's the volcanoes. Remember the volcanoes came in? Right? Earth, earthquake. Right, so air, water, fire, earth. Right? And the next one is called space, or ether. Right? So that is the called space destruction, where it comes from interstellar and so on.